League of Legends from Riot Games is a multiplayer online battle arena, or MOBA for short. Mostly played as a 5v5 game, two teams fight it out on the fields of justice and aim to destroy the other team's base or nexus. It's aimed at a variety of people, from RPG fans due to its similar class system, to people that have played Dota in the past and are familiar with the game genre. Younger people generally are more involved than older people due to the quick reaction times required to perform at an above average level. Also, more recently, thanks to the LCS, which is the League Championship Series hosted by Riot Games, fans of competition have been growing. In sports bars around the world, competitive League of Legends has become a regularly scheduled thing, and viewing parties keep growing. Also, due to its competitive setting, basketball players have also started to see the value in playing League of Legends due to the vast similarities it has between basketball and the actual game. 5v5, each person plays their own role, and the communication is so important. There's no story mode, it's all team-based multiplayer. There are several different game types, with the most popular being Summoner's Rift, a 5v5 map. Most of the game types are 5v5, and there's one 3v3 map. A team wins when the other team's nexus is destroyed. It makes no difference if one team has more kills or overall gold. If your base gets destroyed, you lose. And that's not to say that kills and gold aren't useful, as generally the team with more of them are the stronger team. There are a lot of risks that can be taken in the game, too many to really talk about, but a lot of it can kind of come down to the champions that you pick. In general, champions are very well balanced. Some of them are really good at pushing early and like trying to win really quickly. However, they fall off in the late game and they don't become as strong as their counterparts could become. Same thing. Some start off really weak, but then become really strong. So you've got to really be careful about what you pick. However, obviously the reward is if you pick a champion that can win really quickly, then you might win really quickly. But like I said, the risk is there. You might end up being completely useless by the time the late game comes around, and you'll lose. Using high cooldown abilities is also a risk. Some skills, such as your ultimate abilities, take a long time after you use them for them to come back up to be used again, usually on about a 2-minute cooldown. So sometimes you can use them, get a kill, and then it was essentially worth using. However, if you use it and you don't achieve anything, then you've just wasted it and you've got to wait 2 minutes for it to come up, therefore making you a bit weaker while you're waiting for it to come up. There's not a lot of things really special about the controls. It's a very simple system. However, everything is fully customizable. So if you find that something's really just uncomfortable for you to do, like the hand positions you need to have to be able to use it on the keyboard to level up skills or that sort of thing, you can change it. You can self-optimize. You can make yourself as good as you can be when it comes to the controls. And this is really useful for this sort of game where there's so many different types of people that are playing it. So everybody has a fair chance to perform at a top tier level. Player movement's very simple. You right click in a location, the player moves there. There's no jumping, swimming, or climbing or anything like that. The map is just flat. Everything, there's no levels to it, there's no hills. But something that is extremely important in the environment is the bushes. This very simple mechanic, but the bushes allow you to stand in them and be invisible to the enemy players unless they're in the bushes with you. However, you can see the enemy players on the outside of the bush. This allows for you to catch somebody off guard, and if you're behind, if you're a weaker champion, this can allow you to get the drop on them, do a bit of damage before they can even react, and you might actually get the kill, even though in a fair fight you wouldn't have been. Heads-up display, again, very basic RPG style display. You've got your stats available to you, you've got a map, you can see all your teammates, you can see all the items that you've got, and you can see all of your abilities and your health and your mana. But this is an extremely team-based game. And you can see your teammates' healths, their mana, and if they have their abilities up. This is so useful for knowing whether or not your team is ready to fight. If they're ready to fight, then you will know, you can see. However, if they're not, you'll know not to waste time trying to fight because it's just going to be pointless endeavor. Another heads-up display sort of thing, it's more of what you can see visibly on the map, is the pings. You can ping somebody to say danger is coming, and it will come up. All your allies will see this flashy red thing on the floor that's basically saying, run away, something's coming. There's also other ones, there's some that can tell you to go to places, some that will say, I'm on my way here. And it allows for you to really quickly and really efficiently tell people, this is what's going to happen right now. The front end is very simple. A button to get into the game, a button to go to the shop. But going back to the team element of it though, you can go to your friends list and you can assemble a team very quickly and go online and play as a group. That's really good for the team-based part of it. The audio is really crucial in this game because all the champions have their own unique audio, through dialogues and ability sounds. And if you play enough, you'll start to learn what they are and what they mean. So some champions will have noises they make when they're about to do an ability. So if you recognize them, it allows you to respond quickly and possibly even avoid the onslaught of attacks that are about to come. The towers also make a sound when they're targeting you. So if you're playing a high damage but low armor, low health character, and you hear the sound the towers make when they're attacking you, you know you need to get away, otherwise you're going to probably die to the tower because they do a lot of damage. However, the tanks and the very high health people, if they hear it, they know that you're safe. Like you as the high damage but low health, low armor character are safe because I am the one taking the damage. So that's very useful for, again, for team play. In general, there are 5 different roles for the players to play. You've got your tanks, you've got your mages, you've got your attack damage champions, and you've got your supports, and you've also got your junglers, which are a quite unique thing to League of Legends that aren't in RPGs generally. And they're the people that are high mobility, high damage in the early game, and they will basically run around the map and try and go to each individual lane and gain them an advantage. So fighting in this game comes down to 2 parts. You've got the individual lane fights and team fights. Individual fights are in your lane, you're trying to gain dominance over your counterpart, over the enemy lane people. If you can do that, then you'll have more of an impact in the game. Team fights will change game to game, depending on the team compositions or just how well you have done leading up to team fights. If your team is behind and they're a weaker team, then you're going to want to try and figure out a way to gain an advantage. Now, this is where puzzles come into the game, because there's not really puzzles in League of Legends. The puzzles are more, how do we beat this setup that they've got? So if they're ahead of you, you need to try and set up a trap, try and capture one of the main characters. You want to try and kill one of them. So the next time you team fight, it'll be a 4v5 as opposed to a 5v5. And then you'll now be ahead. Team compositions would be way too much to talk about, but here's some examples. Poke compositions generally will try and avoid fair fights. They want to use their long-range, high-damage abilities to get your health down before they actually go in for a fight. Engagement compositions, they want to get into the fight really quickly. They'll have a lot of area effect, tanky crowd control, and a lot of damage, and just basically try and burst you down as quickly as possible. There'll be the other ones. There's, like I said, there's too many to really talk about. But there are 2 of the most common ones. Sneaking in this game can be achieved a couple of ways. Some champions actually have a built-in sneak mechanic, and they can utilize this to surprise the enemies. Most champions don't, though, so they'll try and control the vision. Basically, in the fog of war, in the areas that nobody is occupying, you can't see what's in there. So getting your vision in those areas is very important, because then it means you know if there's somebody coming. If you've not, then that's essentially stealth. You are trying to work your way through the fog of war and through the bushes so the enemy can't see you and then surprise them in the last second. Like I said, there's not really any puzzles in the game, there's no collectibles, and the only upgrades really exist within your abilities. All your abilities can level up and become stronger, and that's how they upgrade. As for the AI, minions, they will walk down the lanes. All the lanes will get the same amount of minions coming at the same amount of time, and they'll come in waves throughout the whole game. They are the main source of income, and that's pretty much what they do. They attack each other, and they will attack champions if they get too close, but generally they're just there for a source of income for players. The towers also will have their special AI because they will attack the minions in a specific order. So if the enemy minions get up to your tower, they will first target the cannon minion, then they'll target the melee minions, and then they'll target the ranged minions, going in damage order essentially. They won't attack the enemy unless the enemy is either attacking you under the tower, in which case the tower will switch aggro onto the enemy, or if they are no minions left and the enemy is under the tower. Some champions have a companion that they can summon and control. It's usually their ultimate ability, so they'll use that, and then for the duration of the time that the companion is alive, then they will be able to press their ultimate button again, which you usually are, and control them and move them around. So that's pretty much everything I think really boiled down in this game. It's too big to really fully deconstruct, especially in 7 minutes. I've been doing several takes of this, and this is trying to be as short as I can get it. So thank you very much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and goodbye.